So welcome to a specially extended edition of Business Bites tonight, because tonight we're talking about wedding planning. And in the studio with me, I have Lisa Simmons from English Rose Weddings. Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Hiya. Now then, you've been very busy this week getting all your brides-to-be to ask various questions. But before we do move on to those, let's just talk a little bit about your background. How did you get involved in wedding planning?
I come from a legal background, and it was always left to me to organise the partner conferences or any summer balls, Christmas parties, mainly due to me being a bit of a social butterfly, and I found I had a real enjoyment doing that. So it kind of went from there, really.
And how long have you actually been doing it?
This is my 6th year.
Tell us what a wedding planner actually does. I suppose the best way of describing you is a one-stop shop for the bride, really, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. That's actually our tagline. We offer an all-under-one-roof service. What does a wedding planner do? It's our aim to bring your day together with the least amount of stress possible for you, so that you're left to enjoy the day and the build up to the day to the absolute maximum. The last thing you want to do on your wedding day is wake up feeling completely burnt out, and I'm able to take that stress away from you.
So the bride will come to you and say that she's leaving it to you to sort out everything, the venue and the photographer and stuff like that. Everything to do with the wedding is all down to you. So you must have an important meeting with the bride then sometime before the wedding.
Yeah, usually when the bride comes to see me, the initial consultation, she's probably already found her venue. She's probably already living with her husband-to-be and working full-time. They may or may not have 1 or 2 children, and she's realised she just can't be spending every weekend for the next, 10, 12 months visiting various bridal shops, florists, venue dressers, because she obviously wants to live her life and spend time with the children and her husband-to-be. So she'll come and see me, and from that consultation we'll put together a plan of action, and I'll go forward in taking that stress away from her and introducing her to various suppliers that I think will work best with her to give her the day that she wants and give her wedding the look that she wants.
So as a wedding planner, you already have in mind various venues, you already have in mind, for example, flower shops, all the background information you need. Through your experience, you've actually built up like a list of people that you would deal with.
I have my own preferred suppliers that I've worked with from the beginning, really, so we all work brilliantly together. I can trust them implicitly, and for every aspect of a wedding, be it all from cakes, lighting, photography, whatever you want, I will have at least 3 suppliers, so I can tailor every supplier to what a particular bride needs, because obviously not every bride is going to fit best with one photographer or one florist, so I have to make sure I have a few in reserve.
I know that from the lead up to this interview tonight, you have been asking your brides-to-be if they had any questions or concerns, and if so, to give you a list of questions. So let's go through them one by one. The first one I think that crops up is something called the venue dressing. Talk us through that.
Well, obviously, the venue dressing is, as it says in the title, a dressing of the wedding venue. I've been asked if there's any colours that should be avoided or any popular colours, this kind of thing. My advice always to a bride is usually the colour schemes are decided by whatever colour bridesmaids gowns you're having. If you're going to go for a particularly strong or bold colour, blues, fuchsias, Cadbury's purple, for example, I think it's best to let your bridesmaids' dresses pop out and keep your overall venue dressing very simple, tasteful and elegant. This probably means having your chair cover sashes, for example, in an ivory colour. So not only will your bridesmaids' dresses pop out, but it gives you more room to bring your chosen colour scheme into your centrepieces. This is what people are going to see when they're sitting down. Sometimes you can just become a little bridezilla over the small things like your colour and your colour matching. You've got to remember, girls, that when you're choosing your bridesmaids' dresses and then you want to match your bridesmaids' dress, your invitations and your flowers and your chair cover sashes and the colour of your cake, you're dealing with completely different fabrics and textures, and they are never going to match. Don't lose sleep over this. It's just going to add to what is going to create a beautiful day for you.
When we talk about dressing the venue, something that's becoming more popular these days is something called mood lighting. So tell us about mood lighting and how that works at a venue.
I love mood lighting. I wish my brides would use it more. I do try and persuade them, but they just don't get it. And I get why you don't get it. Mood lighting works so well in old venues. If you imagine an old venue, old stately homes, country manor house, those kinds of things, usually inside they're going to have dark wood. If you've got uplights put against the walls in, say, a magenta, the overall look that is going to give your room, it just softens everything. It creates a beautiful ambience. I just can't emphasize how much I adore mood lighting. If you can't stretch to mood lighting, one thing I will suggest to my brides is, if you were, for example, to just alter your centerpieces, say by £10 each per centerpiece, that is going to go a long way into contributing towards having mood lighting. If it's still an issue, then buy as many tea lights as you can afford and put them every available space, because when it comes to the night time, the look that tea lights or any lighting is going to give that room, it's so romantic and it's beautiful.
Now, the lighting, the electric lighting, which can be a variety of colours, you can actually hire that. You have a company that you deal with that would hire the lighting.
I do. I've worked with the same company since the beginning, really. I was introduced to them very early on, and I won't go anywhere else now. He does everything from mood lighting, twinkle dance floors, black and white dance floors, high gloss dance floors, lighting gobos. If you wanted your names or initials or your children's names projected around the room, he can do all that for you. If you want the date of your wedding and your names projected onto the dance floor, he does all that. Anything you see, basically, in a nightclub or a dance event or a concert, he can do, and I can replicate that for you on your wedding day.
Brilliant. Now, the next, probably the most important thing, I would think, I suppose it depends if you're a groom or a bride, really, but I believe that the grooms tend to worry more about this. It's the photography and also the videography, the man who takes the videos at the wedding. So tell us some of the questions that your brides have asked about this. This
is one that's come from via the boys. There are so many photographers out there now. You have your hobbyists who it's great to have, if Uncle Fred is a keen photographer, by all means have him there taking photographs, but don't make him your main photographer. You only get this day once. You can't replicate the day. I will always advise spending a bit of money on your photographer. Maybe not your whole budget proportion, but don't scrimp on your photographer. Your prices are going to range from a couple of hundred into the thousands. Go off a recommendation. Ask your venue who they see there a lot, who they would recommend, and always check your photographer's work. Ultimately, go with your gut, because at the end of the day, you've got to click with your photographer. He's the person, or she, who's got to get the best out of you when your smile is stuck to your face. If you're still a little bit unsure, ask to ring previous clients. And I can't stress enough, you cannot get this day back. So invest wisely in your photographer. And of course, the photographer needs to have a list of the special guests that you might want photographing. So, of course, the photographer should be in touch with you, the bride, before the wedding. Absolutely. And on the day of the wedding, if you're choosing to not have me, well, first of all, more fool you. But secondly, give that list of photographs you must have taken to probably the usher, because the best man's going to be already busy. Give that list to the usher. He's going to know who Auntie Jill is and who Cousin Michael is. The photographer isn't. And that's the only way the photographer is going to take these photographs, by having it shown to him who these people are. I know one of the problems that people have with the wedding photographs is that once they get to the venue and the bar's open, it's getting everyone away from the bar, isn't it? That's why we have a best man. Well, sometimes he's the most guilty party. Every wedding planner loves a best man. So let's talk about the videographer, the man who takes the videos at the wedding. So this is more of a sort of a fun idea now, isn't it? It's the serious photographs of the photographer. The videographer is the man who just takes the background on the day, isn't he, really? Well, yes and no. I mean, your videographer is the guy that's going to pick up the daft moments that the camera's never going to pick up. He's going to get your atmosphere, the emotion. It's all well and good you trying to save pounds by having Uncle Billy who says he'll do it for you, but he's there as your guest. You shouldn't have your guest there working. He is going to want to listen to the best man's speech, not be there checking the sound levels and the lighting on his camcorder. That's even if his camcorder has those facilities. And I promise you, when he's had a few drinks, he won't be thinking of recording your first dance. He's going to be far too busy eyeing up your busty bridesmaid. Okay, so that's our videographer. That's the guy who does the video. That's the man who does the video. That's the easiest way of saying it. So what about flowers? Now, they're obviously very important, and the colours of the flowers have to match the tables, presumably, do they? The thing about flowers now is there aren't that many different styles of bouquets. You're either going to have a hand-tied or a shower showers have pretty much died a death, so which leaves you with the hand tied, which basically comes in two styles, a loose hand tied or a structured hand tied. That's dependent on the style of wedding you're having. If you're going for a country, chic, bohemian look, you're more than likely going to have a loose hand tied. If you're going for a glitzy, glam, chic wedding, you're probably going to have a structured hand tied. It's all dependent on your florist as well. The florist is going to offer you a selection of flowers based on your theme and, of course, on your colour scheme and how much you want to bring your colour scheme into your floral displays. You might want to keep your colour in your centerpieces and let your bridesmaids' dresses pop out, or vice versa.
We're talking here to Lisa Simmons, who's from English Rose Weddings. She's a wedding planner. And we're going to take a break now on Business Bites for a piece of music, and then we're going to come back and talk about the disco and the music at the wedding. So let's take a break with Bruno Mars.
It's a beautiful